Howdy on Wealthx Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, so I've got a... Ooh, it looks like I better eat. Also, I don't need this metal. So I believe I've got a quest to connect to a new trader somewhere. And I have 2 treasure maps. Don't I have a quest to connect to a trader? I thought I took one. Maybe that was last time I had a quest to connect to a trader, and now I don't have a quest. That's probably what the deal is. Anyways, let's head out and check out these treasures. And see how that goes. Man, I don't know if I did a whole lot this weekend. I mean, I did a lot, but I didn't get anything interesting done. We did play Final Fantasy 14 Sunday night and finished the campaign. We are all caught up, waiting for the next big patch. I dig it. I like Final Fantasy a lot. I do find the story for the MMO, which is 14. I guess technically 11's also an MMO. I played that when it first came out. Yeah, it's a little repetitive, kind of, and the story gets weird, but it has some really fun moments. I mean, we've been playing Final Fantasy now for a couple of years, I think. So, you know, it's not like I can remember the entire storyline, but I do find it odd that there's a few occasions in the storyline where it just abruptly shifts for no reason. And I find that weird. And so, like, where am I? I'm here. So we could go left and out if I cross through some grass and stuff. So I remember one of the most abrupt changes, just, I'm like, why? Why is this a thing? And that was, the storyline has you fighting against a kingdom called Garlemald at the beginning of the game, and after you okay, and then I want to follow that way up to there, to the trader. Okay. And so after you defeat the outpost of Garlemald in the area you start in, then you end up going to a new section to fight Garlemald there. And there's a moment where like these big bosses from Garlemald show up and attack you, and they're way more powerful than you are, and so like main characters get stabbed, and the resistance that you've been helping to build up gets wiped out, and so I'm like, ooh, this is like a big moment. And then your people are like, all right, we're gonna go to a different area now, and I'm like, what? But the resistance you just helped build up just got destroyed. Shouldn't we be like pulling the pieces back together? Oh, dude, I totally drove the wrong direction. Should we be pulling the pieces back together and building back up the resistance and finding a better way to fight these guys or something? But no. We're going to go to a completely different area with a completely, not completely, but a mostly different storyline. They're still being attacked by Garlemald like the first place was, but in a totally different way. And so it's bizarre. It's a bizarre shift to me. And then, I don't remember how long it is after that, but they, start releasing this poison that's killing people, and one of the guys that is involved with the storyline like raises this big energy wall across the desert to stop Garlemald from being able to invade from that direction. And they're talking about the imminent invasion from Garlemald, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're all going to get sucked to a different world that, while related to the main overarching story, is not related to the fight against Garlemald, really, in any direct way. And so I find that really weird. They just go to this other world and do other stuff. And, in fact, that doesn't really have anything to do with Garlemald. It has to do with some other creatures that are responsible for Garlemald, but not like in charge of the invasion. So like the invasion is from the kingdom, and the creature and the other world stuff is a totally separate storyline from the Garlemald invasion. And then even the it's got really cool moments and some pretty good storyline, but even Endwalker, which is the last expansion to come out, which is the finale to the Final Fantasy XIV current story, has some moments where like they got this dude Xenos, and he wants to fight you, and like he's responsible for a lot of what was going on, and then when we get to Endwalker, he just kind of leaves and then comes back at the end for one last fight, and I'm just like, that was a weird like wander off and then come back as a totally different creature. So yeah, it's definitely sometimes feels very segmented. But one of the things they do is in between expansions, paid for expansions, they do free expansions, but they're spread out over the time between the paid expansions. So you got, like, we're on patch 6, and so patch 6.1 is the first of the free content, and then patch 6.2 is the next part of the storyline of the free content. So we've never been caught up before, the group I play with, because, you know, Final Fantasy XIV's been out for years, and so we've been playing through it over the last couple of years, but now we're caught up. Last night we reached the end of all the free content. Well, okay, when I say all of, we haven't done a lot of the quests. There's a lot of content left that we can go do. But for main story quest, we are caught up on the main story. And yeah, it's pretty good. I like the game. So then we tried to switch over to Gloomhaven. I own the Gloomhaven board game, and I've played that a few times. Not as much as I would like, because I don't know, I find it difficult, A, to get someone to play with me, and B, to sit over there and play it. I don't know what it is about being away from the computer that just drives me crazy, but, you know, that's what happens. Yeah, so I don't remember the game being that difficult when I played the board game version, but man, I cannot get through the first dungeon in the video game, which plays like the board game. And I swear that quest is the same quest, but it's not as hard when you're playing it in real life, I don't think. Either that or we were really playing it wrong. And so you can play it multiplayer, and so we started to play that last night after we finished with Final Fantasy's main story. And yeah, sure enough, we did not even come close to getting through that first quest. The problem is that there's so much to do, and I feel like we're just missing something important. And I'm gonna have to look through what things mean in the game, because there's definitely, like, other people just talk about, you know, getting through the game and stuff, and I'm like, I feel dumb because I can't even get through the first quest. My problem is that you have it's an interesting game because you play with cards instead of dice or something. And so I've played a few different games now that are like that, where they use a card-based combat system instead of rolling dice. Don't go too far now. And so what happens is you've got a bunch of cards to choose from, but then each character has a limit on how many cards they can have in their combat deck. And so as you play, you have to pick 2 cards each turn, and you choose to use the top ability, mundane middle abilities, or you do the bottom ability. You have to choose either top or bottom, and there's a mundane ability for top and a mundane ability for bottom. For the most part, top is an attack, bottom is movement. And so every round you use up 2 of these cards. Well, like, the character I like to play is called the Brute. He's basically just a fighter. And he gets 10 cards to start with. And so if you're using 2 cards every round, you know, 5 rounds and you're done with cards. And so then once you do that, you have to rest to get your cards back, or somebody has to use a special ability to get your cards back. For the most part, though, you're going to rest to get your cards back. And when you do that, you have to give up permanently for the fight one of your cards. Which means the next time around, after I've gone through 5 rounds, well, now I've only got 4 rounds before I have to rest again. And then after that, I have, you know, it goes down every time, right? And then I'm down to, I think it's still 4 rounds the second time. And so the problem is I run out of cards, because not only does that happen, but you also, when you take damage, it's hard to heal. And so when you take damage, you can burn a card to block damage, but then that card's gone. But sometimes you have to, right? It's either that or be dead. Oh. That was weird. The guy was kind of pushing me around instead of attacking me. And then on top of that, some of your abilities, if you use them, are really powerful, but they burn the card. And so there's lots of ways to lose cards. But once all your cards are gone, you've lost. And so the first dungeon in the online game, or in the video game, is to kill all the bad guys in this dungeon. Well, the problem is there are 4 different rooms of bad guys. And the more people you take, the more bad guys go on the map. And so I just don't know what I'm doing wrong that I can't get through this. It's crazy to me. We failed last night. We cleared one one room. Although, to be fair, it was the first time that they were playing, and it had been a long time since I played. And so I don't quite remember all the tricks to playing. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to run through the tutorial again to try and figure out how the game works. I know there's a real trick about, like, waiting for the bad guys to waste their turn coming after you. Because the cards also determine when you go on your turn. And so you can choose to have a high number or a low number. Um, and then that way you kind of control when you go in combat. But yeah, so it looks like we're gonna try that maybe a little bit. I know they're busy Tuesday, so we're not gonna have our Tuesday session like we normally do. All right, where's this chest hiding in this mountain peak here? Where's my stamina? And then Saturday got taken up completely by a wedding that I had to attend. And not my kind of thing, for sure. And I try to avoid that stuff if I can. I only go to the ones that I feel the most social obligation to attend. Uh, and so we went to that, and it was like middle of the afternoon, and it was like an hour drive to get to, and um, uh, which is a little weird. I thought, I don't know why they had it there. It wasn't. I mean, I guess I didn't go to the reception, so maybe the reception hall was the reason they chose it. But uh, man, where is this? Where are you hiding, treasure? Because it was a fairly small wedding, and I feel like we did my sister's um at our house, and I feel like she had more people and more seating. So it just, the reason I'm saying this is because I know where the people whose wedding it was live, and they don't live out that way. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I don't think they do. And so it was weird to me to have it way over there when there's plenty of places over here where that just seemed closer to me, I guess. Um, but whatever. Anyways, it was my wedding. Who cares? But yeah, I went to it. It was outside. It was a nice day. So, um, I think they went to a wedding the week before and it rained on them. Um, but it was nice and sunny and stuff. And then I bumped into a guy I hadn't seen in a while that was there, and kind of waved at him as I was walking out of the place to head home because I didn't stay for the reception. I was peopled out by that point. I'm like, yep, I've talked to enough people today. I just want to go home. I told him I wouldn't be at the reception, so it wasn't like I was ducking out. Man. It's one of those times where I gotta dig up the entire plot trying to find this thing. Oh, there you are. You're down lower than I expected. Come on. And then that was Saturday. And then Sunday, when I was out and about, I bumped into that guy again. And he's like, man, we haven't seen each other in months. And here we are 2 times in one weekend. I'm like, yep. And then I had thought that I'd have more time over the weekend to, get into like recordings and stuff. That was a lot of money I just picked up there. Because I was told that everybody was going to be gone this weekend. And apparently my version of weekend doesn't mean the same thing as their version of weekend, because they were not gone this weekend. They were just gone all day Saturday. And so since I was busy Saturday, I didn't really do a lot of recording and stuff. And then Sunday they were just here in my area the whole day. We caught up on War of Power, War of the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings series, the Tolkien series. It's weird to call it the Lord of the Rings series because it's not Lord of the Rings, but yeah, that show's all right. I don't understand what's going on, and they're really slow about anything happening. And so it would be nice if it would be nice if they I need to go more west than north. I'm gonna freeze to death is what's gonna happen. It'd be nice if they move the story along a little faster. I feel like not a lot has happened. And we're like 6 episodes in now. A little bit happened in that last episode, but and they made some decisions that I question. So like these orcs came, right? And the orcs like tunneled under the ground, and they attacked all the towns in this area, which apparently maybe the valley where Mount Doom is located. I'm unclear. And I guess spoilers for the show. And they also like were digging a big trench through this like it's really weird to me how they've got this place laid out on screen. So like this is a valley where a lot of different towns are, and apparently the people there worked for Morgoth, which was Sauron's boss, and that was like hundreds of years ago. And the elves still patrol the area, and so it was really weird because like there's also this sulfur fields in the same area. Just randomly this giant pit where the orcs are digging for reasons. And so then like I don't know, it was really bizarre. Like they've got this sword that's like made out of smoke and stuff, but it's a key, and the key opens the sluice gate. The sluice gate that already has water pouring in a different area right next to it. And I'm just like, okay. And so then they pour out a little bit of water, and that water, I guess, causes the volcano to start to erupt. And that was their big reveal in the last episode, was Mount Doom erupting so that the orcs, who bubble in the sunlight for some reason, which is another weird choice they've made on this show. It's alright, it's just super, super slow. And it would be nice if it was a little faster paced than it is. Same thing's true of House of the Dragon. I found you. House of the Dragon is super bizarrely slow, and I haven't watched this week's episode. I'll probably do that when I'm done here. But yeah, it's like nothing really has happened. Like everything that's happened on the show could have been skipped. And because none of it mattered. So spoilers for this show. The king, I don't remember which one, is dying, and he doesn't have an heir, and so he names this other guy as his heir, right? And then, the guy he names as his heir only has a daughter, and so his wife dies in childbirth, and so his only male heir also dies in childbirth. And so that's the end of his wife and his male heir, and then his daughter is named his heir, and then the king's hand fausts his daughter off on the king, and so the king marries her, and then she has some children, and then the daughter okay, so she has some children. The daughter marries this guy, and then she has some children, and the king's brother also marries during this time, and he has some children, and then his wife died, and that's it. That's it. That's all that's really happened on this show. Like, every time they make something seem like it's going to be important, there's a time skip, and then it doesn't matter. Like, there was no reason to even have the king giving his making the other guy his heir, and then that guy not having a male heir. There was no reason to have any of that storyline because it doesn't impact what's going on. And then we jump forward, and then we jump forward, and then we jump forward, and so now, like, the children of the original cast on the show, like the children of the people who were in episode 1, are now almost as old as the people were supposed to be in episode 1. So I don't know why I needed to see basically 5 or 6 episodes of people getting married and having children, because none of it impacts the story. There's like one little twist that finally is going to mean something, but it could have been done after they were adults with their children. In fact, it doesn't matter because it really only happened after they were adults with their children. And so it's bizarre that this show is still nothing is happening. I mean, maybe in the new episode. Maybe something will happen in the new episode. But I find that the story is repetitive a bit of Game of Thrones as well. Like, the characters all feel like basically the same characters, and a lot of this story is just like a rehash of what went down in Game of Thrones, but without all the fighting. There's no civil war yet. Basically, you've got the queen and the princess were friends when they were children, and then the queen married the king and basically stopped being friends with the princess at that point. And so this other dude who just out of nowhere turned into Littlefinger from the previous Game of Thrones, basically, is like whispering in the queen's ear that she'd better do something about the princess, because if she doesn't, then the princess is going to have her children killed when she becomes the new queen, because the princess is still heir to the throne. And does she talk to the princess about that? No. It's just that guy's imagination. And then he's also like doing things behind the scenes to stir up trouble. And I don't know why. I don't know why he's so like... He's never had anything in this story other than telling the queen these things. Like, they've never showed him do anything. Like, I don't know if he's angling for power. I think closest he said was that the queen would reward him. But he's, like, already a nobleman in court. I get that he's, like, disabled somehow. I can't remember if he, like, broke his back or something and he walks with a cane, or... I don't remember what the deal is with him. I know he's not a knight like the other noblemen. But beyond that, he just basically is spreading rumors that aren't true, or they are true. But he knows that it's just going to stir up trouble in the kingdom, and they haven't given a reason why. And I don't like this kind of story. I don't like where they don't tell you what's going on. Like, okay, I don't want them to tell me what's going on, but I don't like the kind of story where they're like, twist. You didn't see it coming because we never gave you any information that would let you figure it out ahead of time. Twist. Oh, remember that twist you thought was important? Well, guess what? It's not. We're not actually going to continue that storyline, so there was no reason for us to have done any of this. But yeah, that's what I feel about this show so far. I wish it would pick up. I wish they would have something actually occur. I'm assuming this episode, maybe. Nope, that doesn't go in there. Maybe they'll have something happen. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, though. One of the weird things I thought they did on the show. Ooh, what did I just do? That doesn't go in there. That's not what I was trying to click on. One of the weird things they did on the show was to take the actresses basically who started the show, and then during the last time jump they replaced them. And I find that bizarre because the time jump was not much farther than the actual actresses' ages. Let me rephrase that. The actresses' actual ages. That's what I meant to say. And so it's a little weird to me to replace these actresses with actresses who are only slightly older because the characters aged. But when you've got a 22-year-old playing a 14-year-old and then a 17-year-old, jumping to when she's like 30 and replacing her with an actress who's closer to 30 doesn't really do a whole lot, because the difference between 22 and 30 isn't that big. So like visually, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Uh, and I honestly, what little I guess I not don't watch closely, but I actually thought the actress playing the queen was the same actress at first when she first came out. So I don't know what the point was in switching the actresses. Like it seemed more like a gimmick than a real reason. Like I could understand if they like jumped from 17 to 50 or something, but they didn't. Uh, they only skipped forward like 8 years for the actresses and 13 years for the characters. I don't feel that. Oh no, ow! I don't feel the difference was big enough to warrant the change. Um, but yeah. Um, let's see. Anything else before I log off here? Think so. Uh, I know we were supposed to work on my internet is the Starlink and it needs to go up on a pole before winter. And we're supposed to work on that this weekend. And we had talked about it on multiple occasions. You know what? I came up here to get a splint. And my sister said that we would work on it when she got home from work because I need two people to do it at least. And so I'm standing there, and she's like, "All right, I'm back." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna eat some breakfast here, and then we can do it." And she goes and walks off, and forgot, and goes and takes a nap. And I stood in the kitchen for a half hour waiting for her to come back, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go downstairs for a bit because I had just finished mowing the lawn when she got home. Um, so it wasn't like I was eager to get out there after, working in the yard already for like 3 hours. And then I come up like a half hour after that and she's gone. She went to a party. Just like that was it. So yeah, that didn't happen. And I see that this Friday's supposed to be like in the 40s. So got a weird cold dip at the end of the week that definitely going to need to get that pole up quick before the ground starts to freeze and we can't put it in because I don't want to go out with a shovel to dig out for the internet. All right, with that, be brand the small things, lean the light, and I will talk to you later.